Misha Katsurin, who owns a restaurant in Kyiv, was surprised that his father didn't call after the war started in Ukraine to make sure that he was okay. Misha Katsurin closed his restaurant, got his wife and two children safely to Hungary. Then he relocated to a safer city west of Kyiv. After some time went by, still his father had not called to check on him, and so he called his father, who lives in Russia, and he discovered that his father had no idea that Vladimir Putin was waging war on Ukraine. That first phone call did not go well, and Misha ended up angrily hanging up on his father, giving up. Then he decided he could not afford to give up. He had to keep calling. He had to keep telling the truth. There are 11 million people in Russia who have relatives in Ukraine. And Misha is hoping that those 11 million people in Russia get phone calls every day telling them the truth until they understand the truth. Misha has launched a website which in English means Papa Believe. The website advises Ukrainians how to speak the truth to Russians in a way that they might eventually understand. Misha Katsurin says with 11 million people, everything can happen. And joining us now is Misha Katsurin, is a restaurateur who lives in Ukraine. He and his family, he does have family in Russia. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Tell us what it was like when you first spoke to your father.
That's totally mind-blowing because he's like a close person to me. He's my father. I'm his son. And when you call your father, you expect him to believe what you are saying, especially if you are saying about what you see with your own eyes. But I know quite a lot about Russian propaganda, and I call him because I realized that if he doesn't call me, probably he doesn't know what's going on. So that was not big surprise. Big surprise was that he started to argue. And when I told him, Father, Russia started bombing us, it invades Ukraine, and now I'm trying to save my little son and my little daughter and to escape from the Kyiv, from the bombs. And he said, no. He started arguing that in reality, Russia now are saving you from the Nazis regime, and we don't have Nazis regime. And he said the most interesting thing that the Russian soldiers now are giving us food and warm clothes to Ukrainian people. So you all saw the videos of how they are giving warm clothes and food to Ukrainian people. So after 5 minutes of trying to explain him what's going on, I said just, okay, Father, goodbye. That was the first call.
And you felt angry after that first call, but then you decided you had to keep calling, and you've started this website to encourage people to keep calling. How is it going with your father now? Have you been able to get him on the phone again?
That was almost like this, because after this call, I made the Instagram post with the story that my father does not believe me. And this post became viral. It was like more than 135,000 shares of it. And thousands and thousands people, they start to comment that I've got the same problem with my mother. I've got the same problem with my uncle. I've got the same problem with my sister. They doesn't believe me. I don't have mother. I don't have sister. And I realized that the problem is very widespread, that it's huge. And I started to dig and figured out this number of 11 million people. And then I understood that the easiest thing is to say, okay, I don't have father, because of course you feel super angry and super embarrassed about this. And that's the easiest way. But I cannot blame my father in this situation. He's also victim, the same victim, he's another type of victim. Like for 20 years, Russian propaganda told him that this tree is red. And then I called him and said, oh, no, father, this tree is green. And he just cannot believe me. He wants to believe me. He cannot. That's why I decided to make this website with my colleagues and to call him again. and to start like working on this topic. So I started this website, and I called him again, and I made a record of my call. So I understand, and on this website, I offer people to call their relatives and to be calm, not to become angry, not to scream, not to shout, because that's really hard to keep you like in the hands.
So, Misha, what does your father think now? Is he changing his mind at all?
A little bit. So after the second call, everything becomes a little bit better. I already could answer several questions for him about Nazism regime. Each day I send him some screenshots of my messages with my mother, where she tells me her stories in my native city, Berdansk, about that people are dying, they are shooting into civilians, and already my father understands that it's the war. That's not special operation. So each day I try to do small step for him to understand what's going on, and it becomes better. I think it's a long way, because I cannot change the situation in 1 or 5 calls, because for 20 years, professional propagandists worked on him and on other Russian citizens. But I need to do it.
Well, I would think every grandfather is worried about his grandchildren. Is he worried about his grandchildren who are now in Hungary? Your kids who are now in Hungary?
Of course. Like he loves me. He loves my children. He loves my family, and he's really worrying about what's going on. He just cannot believe in this. In his reality, it's super strange. Now he's just starting to believe in what's going on. Yes, of course, he always asks how is Sasha, how is Vanya, how are my children, how am I doing? So yes, of course.
Misha Katsurin, thank you very much for joining us tonight. This is so important for us to hear. It helps us understand. And please come back. We want to hear more about your conversations with your father and how they're going next week and the week after that. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And you know, Lawrence, I understand that we need to talk to our relatives, and they have to know the truth. But I've got something to say, not only to my dad, but also to the people of the world. So, like, little and brave Ukraine now resists like the modern Adolf Hitler, who openly threatens the world with a nuclear bomb. But Russia is huge, and they can act war for ages, and we cannot resist them for ages. So they will kill us, and they will continue. So NATO, close the sky. Save these brave people and the democracy and the future of the world, please.